Ladies and gentlemen, pray silence for the President of the British Plastics Federation, Paul Jukes, Managing Director of Arkema Limited.
Thank you very much. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. These glasses are new for me, so you'll have to bear with me. I'm getting to that age now. I never thought it would come, but it has. If you look at the programme, I'm intrigued to read. It says, the loyal toast, the guest proposed by Mr. Peter Davis, the response by Phil Cornwall. Quite where I fit into all this, I don't know. But so I hope I was going to get away with it. Apparently not. In fact, the truth is I actually almost didn't get here at all tonight. I don't know, those of you who came down the M40, I came down the M40 this afternoon. I was determined to get here early. And I drove into a terrific traffic jam, three lanes of stationary traffic. And I've been sat there in this stationary traffic for half an hour, beginning to really panic. And I noticed a chap was wandering down the 3 lanes, stopping at each of the cars, saying a few words. When he got to me, he said, I'm sorry, he said, it's Guy Fawkes night, of course. He said, and some people have built a bonfire by the side of the motorway, quite legitimately, but the bonfire itself has been hijacked by a group of terrorists, and the terrorists have kidnapped Gordon Brown, Peter Mandelson, and Alistair Darling. And the terrorists are threatening to douse them all in petrol and throw them on the bonfire, unless they raise £1 million in cash. So I'm going from car to car, making a bit of a collection. I said, well, that's a marvellous idea, count me in. I said, how much are people giving? He said, well, people are giving about a gallon. I should say, of course, pat on my right works for the Honourable Lord Peter Mandelson. I think it's fair to say that we in this industry, we started talking recession longer than a year ago. The government admitted it a little less than that, but we knew all about it a year ago. Some of us think it's a little better than it was. I think our customers can't keep on destocking, so I think we may have reached the end, hopefully. But because of this, the BPF formed this wonderful recession action group, a body which is designed to give the government a hard time because we needed to tell the government what we needed. We know it's been difficult for you, and it's taken them a little while to accept some of our suggestions, but we're getting there. January of this year, of course, we had a council meeting in the offices of the Bank of England, and again, we had to give it to Charlie Bean, who's the Deputy Governor of the Bank of England, some pretty stiff views. And the Bank of England listened to us very carefully, and I'm pleased to say that we're invited back again this January, where we'll give more stiff views. So the BPF is very active, working with the government, etc. The BPF are always lobbying with ideas, the car scrappage scheme and its recent extension, stamp duty on properties, or no stamp duty on properties up to 175,000, no climate change levy increase for 2010 and 11, help on trade credit insurance, although this is still a long way to go. What we don't want, ladies and gentlemen, we don't want our tender recovery to be spoilt by silly ideas. The BPF and its 8 associations wrote to the Chancellor just last week and asked for the stamp duty holiday to be extended, first-year capital allowances to be extended until April 2011, the increase in small companies' corporation tax to be postponed. We've also asked the Chancellor to cancel his planned rise in national insurance contributions in April 2011, which will hit employers and employees just as we hope the recovery is starting to take place. We also reminded the Chancellor that we've been very critical of his predecessor, and we know who the present Chancellor's predecessor was. We criticised him because of the huge budget deficit at the time. This is before bank bailouts and before the recession. We have a budget deficit of 175 billion, ladies and gentlemen, 175 billion. This is a dark shadow over our country, and paying the interest alone will cost every man, woman and child £500 a year. We've given the government some tough proposals on how we think this should be tackled. It's not all bad news. We've had this wonderful, after a lot of work, a lot of lobbying, we have this climate change agreement signed with the Department of Energy and Climate Change on the 1st of October. For eligible members, we have at long last a level playing field against other materials. Plastics companies' eligible sites will get an 80% discount in their climate change levy, and in exchange, we have agreed to reduce energy usage by 12% on their 2006 usage by December 2010. The reduction in emissions from the first wave of 106 sites is a saving of approximately 60,000 tonnes of CO2. And so that Phil and I can understand this, Phil, this is equivalent to filling Wembley Football Stadium 27 times. So we can understand that, Phil and I. We expect to have around 250 sites in the scheme by the year end, and we have set up the company BPF Energy to administer it. I'd like to thank our consultants Inenco and the DEC officials who are here tonight for making this possible for the benefit of the industry and the environment. I'd particularly like to acknowledge Martin Smith's contribution to this. Martin is the head of the climate change team at DEC. His help has been invaluable. Martin, thank you very much. Last week, we were honoured by a state visit by the President of India. We are similarly honoured tonight by the presence of Mr. Lal Singh, Vice President of the Plastic India Foundation. The BPF has for many years taken companies to key developing markets such as India, and indeed we were at the Plastic India show in New Delhi this year. Mr. Singh spoke at our India seminar this morning on the opportunities in that important market, and I thank him for being here today and tonight. However, ladies and gentlemen, while we're on the subject of thanks, the key people I want to thank tonight are our brilliant and young BPF staff. The brilliant and young BPF staff, and indeed Peter, do a great job. Where are